Hello, everyone. I just wanted to give you a little direction on a couple of things in the course this semester that may be slightly different than the last time you had me. So let's start off with start here. So most of the stuff you should have already done. You should have watched the course introduction, looked at the syllabus and the course schedule, done the no-show assignment. So I did want to talk about the lab supplies. Let's talk about that real quick. Okay, so you're responsible for buying these lab supplies if you want to complete the labs at home. And you can buy them from a lot of different places. One of the places that I have been buying equipment from is Electronic Express online or Jameco.com, but you can buy it from Amazon. You can buy it anywhere where people sell electronics, basically. So you need a 10K potentiometer. You need either a 4x4 or a 3x4 keyboard. You can use either one of those. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have the data sheet for the one that you buy, and you need an LCD display and a serial to USB cable, and it needs to be a male to USB cable because the 8051, which I'm going to let you borrow, that has female connector. Okay, so that's why you need the male cable. I'll let you borrow the 8051. You'll have to go to the lab, and once you go to the lab, there will be a lab. Let's see. Okay, if you go to lessons and then you click on lab supplies, there is an equipment checkout contract. To borrow the 8051, you will have to print this out, fill in your part, take it to the lab, and then the lab tutor will fill in their part and they will hold on to it. Then when the semester is at an end, you bring back the 8051 and you'll fill out the second part saying that it's in working condition. The tutor will check it and they will sign that it is indeed in working condition, and you'll be good to go. If it's not in working condition, then you'll have to pay for it. So just make sure you are very careful with it. And if you don't bring it back, or if you don't pay, if you do break it, you will, there will be a hold on your grades and on your student account. So just take care of it. I don't expect much to happen to it. They're pretty sturdy. All right. So that's if you want to do your lab assignments from home. Being that we're in the time of COVID, a lot of people do not want to come to the lab. And also remember that only 10 people can be in the lab at a time. So that's another hold up for the lab. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about were your lab assignments, the write-up for your lab assignments. So, well, first we'll talk a little bit about the first one you have, which is the orientation lab. Okay, so for the orientation lab, you're going to have to learn how to use the software that we use in this program and in this course. And we use quite a bit of software in this program. Okay. So basically for the orientation lab, the tutors are going to show you how to do several things, or else you're just going to read the how-to tutorial on how to do it. So basically you're going to learn about the ESD wrist strap, which you should already know about that, I hope by now. Draw.io is software that you can use to make flowcharts, and actually you can use it to make your pin diagram of the 8051 as well, or your schematic of the 8051 as well. Kale, you're going to have to, that's software that you're going to have to use to compile your assembly programs that you use, that you upload onto the 8051. Real Term is some software that you're going to have to use. Fritzing, you don't have to use Fritzing if you use Draw.io, but it is software that you could use to create your data sheet. So it's up to you. All right. So basically for your lab, you're going to have to go and talk to the tutors about all these different things and show them, ask them what you use it for, or tell them what you've already learned about what you use it for. And then you're just going to have to write several paragraphs explaining to me what the software is going to be used for. And then you're going to attach that to your lab report. Okay, so you're not going to write this lab up like you would write an official lab up, but you are going to create a Word file and attach that to the lab report Dropbox. Okay, now all those how-to files are in this how-to folder. So how to use all this different software is there. And then I think we even have like a YouTube video. We didn't make it, but there's a YouTube video on YouTube for Fritzing. So, but I tell you, if you can use Draw.io, I would use Draw.io because Fritzing crashes all the time, and it may be very large for your computer. So, okay, so let's go back to lab orientation on how to create documentation. All right, so these are the documentation, or I changed it to report. So this is the lab report guideline. So there's a very specific way that your lab reports need to be structured. Okay. First, you need to tell me the program function. That means, how does your program work? What is the function of the program that you have written or that you are supposed to write? You need to create a flow chart before you ever start working on the program, because the flow chart is your algorithm. It's the steps that you need to take in order to complete the task. So you make the flow chart first, and then from the flow chart, it makes it easy to just turn each step of the flow chart into some assembly code. You need a chip diagram, or you could call it a circuit diagram. A lot of times it will just be a pin diagram because it will only be the 8051 and it won't be anything else really connected to it. But you need that diagram, okay? You need to put a snip of your program. So that means you do not have to rewrite the program. You will have the program in Kale Microvision. Take a snip of it there showing the comments, okay? That's good enough. That's your program. You will need a self-reflection, okay? It describes any problems that you encountered and what you learned from doing this lab, right? And then you will need to take a picture, a close-up picture so that I can see it well, of your circuit, okay? Remember to always color code. And what people have found that works really well is if they get the jumper cables, if they get the 8 that are all connected and don't disconnect them male to male, it just makes wiring the 8051 way more easy. You need to include in the Dropbox the .h file and the .asm file, okay? You need to include them in the Dropbox as a separate file, okay? Do not copy what's in these files and put it into your Word documentation. That is not what I'm asking for. All right, so let's look at an example of a good program. Alrighty, so here's an example of a nice lab write-up. You have your program function, right? It tells you very clearly the purpose of this program is to send a hexadecimal values FF, 7, 3C, and P0, and hold those values for 1.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds, and 2 seconds. All right, and then it tells you what your binary results on your LED will be. Here's a flow chart that describes exactly how the program will work, making sure it uses all the correct shapes, right? And it should be on one page, and it should be vertical, okay? So if you get to the point where your flow chart is getting to be too long, then you need to combine some different steps and just make it more broad, okay? The whole point of the flow chart is just to make it easy for a person to see exactly what your program is doing. Okay, then you have your circuit diagram. Save this, because you will probably this will be your circuit diagram for so many times. You don't want to have to keep building it over and over. So just make one and save it so that you can use it each time when you write your report. Here's your program. He took a snip of his Kale Microvision program where he was editing the program. That's all you have to do. You don't have to rewrite the program yourself. Then here's a self-reflection. And here's a really good picture of the 8051. Okay? Then he included, he shouldn't have put it here. This .h file and this .asm file, it should just have been attached to the Dropbox. It should not be in this Word file. So that is the one thing that should not have happened. Okay, so this is a good example of a good program, of a good lab report. Okay, so basically that's it for this week. If you have any questions or anything you need to talk to me about, feel free to reach out to me. Remember, in order to make an appointment with me, you just go over here to instructor hours, make it during one of these times when I have office hours, and just click this link. All right, or you can email me, or you can send me a message on Teams. There's so many ways to contact me. All right, enjoy MLK weekend. Bye.